Tye Tribbett, who is a gospel singer slash pastor
All of that.
slash all of that,
Mm-hmm.
um, gets invited to Breakfast Club. Um, and they interview him or whatever, and he's kind of going viral right now
A
because
word?
of some stuff that he said
What do you say?
about church. And we're gonna pull it up here. And I skipped ahead. So to put it into context, um, they asked about, like, I guess, the job of a pastor. All right. And he talks a little bit about that, and he talks about how some pastors he believes are called, right, by God to pastor a church, and then some others are where you kind of apply to the job, like a manager at Target or something, and then you get the job, right, and you start pastoring. And then he goes into this, which is what seems to be going around, and I'll stop it when kind of gets to the end of it. So this is
Yeah.
what he says.
believe are literally called from God. I don't believe a lot of pastors are. I think it's a system now. Oh God, it's a system. Everything is a system, and systems work with or without God. So I think the institution of church is whack. I think how church is ran is whack. I think the religious system and structure is whack. I don't subscribe to it, even though I grew up in it. I benefited from it, but I learned that God is not the church. And once I realized, whoa, God ain't church. That for me, you know what I mean. I ain't from the streets. I'm from the church. So that was a huge thing as well.
It's in the Bible though. It says you can't even find God in a man-made temple.
Why don't we read that though? How often do you hear that sermon? No, you hear people, pastors make the people about the church. We got the church name, we church and the bumper sticker, the church. The church should be about the people. The church should be about the people, but the church makes the people about the church. So all churches now are a movement, but they're not about the people. They're not about serving and loving the people. So I just kind of pulled that. We're online right now. We're not even in a building, a physical building or nothing like that. So Live Church, shout out to Live Church. I love y'all so much. Live Church Orlando, we're online right now. And because we had an issue with a building. And now I'm like, hold up. What's going on here? Like, do we need like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, in order to do what we need to do, affect people, serve and love and minister, I'm just looking at everything differently at this point because the church structure has really, I mean, there's a lot of people who won't even go to church. Obviously, when the last time y'all been to church?
All right.
Yo, it sound like he needed to be in his Bible instead of being in church. Because he's like, how come nobody teaching this? How come nobody is saying this? How come nobody preaching? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he came to this conclusion because of whatever problem he had with that lease in Orlando, not because he was in his word and he got some kind of revelation or he read something, right? Because he said,
wait. Well, before you continue,
yeah.
What's up with this lease thing? What's that? I don't know what the story is.
What happened?
What happened with his lease?
Oh, I don't know. He just said that right now. Where he said he had a problem with the building in Orlando. He said,
okay.
And then he started saying, "Well, do I even need a building?" You know what I'm saying? It's like
I got you.
That's what gave you the revelation because you had real estate problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, dog, you've been in church this whole time, and it sounds like you need to kill your idols, bro. I mean, I don't know. I mean, of course, that's from the 30-second 1 minute snippet we saw and all that.
Yeah, but what do you think about him saying the institution of church is whack? The way church is ran now is whack. What do you think about that?
I don't like making blanket statements about anybody or anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that there are aspects of it, that need to be redeemed. You know what I mean? I mean, we're human, so you're gonna have that. I don't know. I gotta watch the video to see if he elaborates more on what he's talking about specifically, because just to throw out the baby with the bathwater, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, the scripture still says that we have to fellowship. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm not gonna say for some people that's the only fellowship they have.
Right.
I'm not gonna say like it's whack and all this and that and the third. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Alvin says Hebrews 10:25. God calls believers to meet together for encouragement.
Right. Don't forsake the fellowship for sure.
Yeah,
I'm with that.
Yeah, I think earlier in that before they talked about kind of the pastor's job and all that stuff, and then got into the whole church is whack. Well, the way churches run is
Yeah.
whack. They did talk a little bit about kind of um, like how small churches, you have people that go because they want to kind of be close to the pastor, or at least know the pastor and that the pastor knows them, right?
Mhm.
Which is what the new lady that's now part of Breakfast Club was mentioning.
Mhm.
And I've been a part of a church like that where it's small, right? The pastor knows your name, you know the pastor, you have the
Mhm.
pastor's number, you know
Yeah.
where he lives, all that stuff, right? And then I've also been to the other side, right, where the pastor has absolutely no idea who I am, and no clue that
Right.
I'm going to the church and all that.
Right.
So um, I think his saying of the church structure now is whack. I would say that maybe the mega church um system, if you can say that word,
Yeah.
or structure, doesn't seem to be I guess not, I don't want to say working, but it doesn't seem to have that longevity, right? um
For the mega churches, you're saying?
for mega churches, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like you've noticed that a lot of mega churches um have kind of fallen, or you know have certain like issues going on within
Mhm.
the ministry, right? You have Mars Hill with Mark Driscoll, then that became individual churches that totally separated.
Yeah.
You had the Hillsong sort of
Mhm.
fallout, right? Even though
Right.
Hillsong Church globally still exists, but you could kind of see like these sort of examples
Right.
that are going around. So
Okay.
I would say also kind of how church is structured, right? You have with a lot of these mega churches, it's almost like a corporate business, right? You
Mhm.
got corporate cards. You have certain allowances that they give, certain ministers and leaders of the church, where you can spend this and that, right? Like
Mhm.
a regular business, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I can kind of understand that aspect of Ty saying the structure is whack. So
Sure.
I,
Sure.
I relate there.
But is it though? Is it the mega churches though? Because like you mentioned a few, right? But I'm sure that there's other mega churches that are successful, right? And that are
Sure, you have
thriving.
yeah, yeah.
I think the issue isn't so much the church, but it's actually the accountability of the
There
people
you
in
go.
these, right? Because you mentioned that Ty is one of them.
Yeah.
He was it like 10, 15 years ago, he was cheating on his wife. And then his wife cheated with the truth. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
yeah.
So I think it's more the accountability, you know what I'm saying? Like who you walking with, who you being accountable to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's I wouldn't say it's the church. Listen, I'm not even like this dude who's like, like pro pro big churches and all that, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm not saying that. I know, like I said, I know that there's issues, right? And then there's problems sometimes, you know what I mean? But like to say like the church is whack, I don't know.
Yeah.
When you build your
Um,
whole life, your whole name on church, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
oh
and,
my
and he
god.
mentioned that, right? He
Yeah, yeah,
mentioned
yeah. He
that
did. He did say that.
he
He did say
profit
that.
off of that. So, um, shout out to everybody on Instagram. AI, the anomaly. Shout out to you. She says, doesn't sound like he's forsaking the fellowship. They are still fellowshipping, but online. I'd prefer to be connected physically in person. Not sure of the long term effects on just being online.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure. The queen I am. You forgot about us on Insta. Yeah, I got you. Got you guys now. So,
Wait, what
um,
happened? She said she forgot about us?
no, saying that I mentioned Twitter, I mentioned YouTube,
Oh.
you forgot about Instagram. Yeah, I see ya. I see ya. Yeah. AI also says, but yo, I hear a lot of things about church issues as if there aren't many churches out here doing good work as a unit, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Um, the people do make up the church slash ecclesia. We are human, so there will be issues. Absolutely.
See what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Absolutely. Kimberly on YouTube says, maybe he was trying to say something to be in agreement in some way with the people he was talking to. No,
Was
because before that, again, they were just asking him about kind of the pastor's role, and how does one like kind of become a pastor and all this other stuff
yeah.
of churches. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Wasn't so much in agreement.
Yeah.
But
Um,
was his conversation more about like who is called to leadership? Because I think that's what he was saying. I
That's how he
think
started.
that was his point, and I can kind of agree with that in the sense where I've seen people who they've had issues with their home church, and they're like, all right, let's start our own church, and
Mhm.
it's like, were y'all really called to be in pastoral leadership?
Right.
Um, or did y'all just not like the way your church was moving, and now you just feel like, well, I want to build my own church?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
that
don't know.
happened. That I was in the church that happened to.
Yeah, so I don't know if he was, because it sounded like to me like he was more alluding to that than just saying like, and then we have like seminary and we have all this stuff that people kind of work their way into the pastoral leadership, but
mhm. Yeah.
they're not really right because like the but word says that a pastor is supposed to be above reproach, right? It's
Mhm.
it's not just all right. You have everybody, right? Everyone's supposed to walk holy, be holy, right? As the Father, but pastors also have more responsibilities, right? So
Mhm.
and they head people and they guide people, and
Right.
sometimes people just go to seminary expecting to become a pastor, and then in reality, like, is it what the Lord called you to do,
Right.
or is it just
Yo,
because
I'm with you. I agree.
you know what I
Like
mean?
some dudes can
Yeah.
sing really well and run choirs, and and now they got churches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some dudes
Um,
can rap, and now they
right.
pastors.
Right, right. And again, if you go probably a couple minutes before I started it, he does mention that, right? That um there are people who study, go to seminary, all this other stuff, and they decide, okay, I'm gonna open a church, but that doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean that you were called to do it, to do that.
Oh, okay,
And he
okay.
even mentioned before that, right, that um in his family lineage, right, I believe he said his grandfather was a pastor, and so on and so forth. And then
Mhm.
it became to the point where um uh Charlemagne asked him, was there a lot of pressure for him to become a pastor? And he was just saying, yes, it was, right, because of his family, right? This was his thing.
Right.
And then it wasn't until his parents like divorced, where at that time, it's a big deal, right, when you divorce. So that's why he kind of like separated from God and tried to do his own thing, and then eventually, reconciled and all that stuff. So um, I don't think Ty was necessarily bashing pastors
Mhm.
or anything like that. So
Okay.
But now he's also got to be careful because of his audience, right? You're in the
Right.
Breakfast Club, and when you say, well, the church is whack, right? And
Right.
you have people that are gonna be like, well, I don't need to go to church, or I don't need to fellowship with other saints in a congregation, because this guy, Ty is saying is whack, and I agree with him. I feel that way. You know what I mean? Or the world can see it a certain way, like, oh yeah, they're fake, they're hypocrites, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
Whatever people have as the narrative of what church is like, or maybe they've experienced stuff. So he has to be also careful about his audience to say, yo, oh, church is just whack. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because there are, and AI said it, there are many ministries that are doing the work of the Father, the whole,
Mhm.
what I mean, working in the Holy Spirit, doing what they have to do,
in
in
the
the
communities.
communities. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
to say that, you can kind of steer somebody
Yeah.
away, you know what I'm
I
saying,
agree with you.
from joining any kind of congregation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got
Yo,
Um,
yo, yo, mate, yo.
go ahead. Go
Go
ahead.
go nah. If you're watching this episode, shout out your church in the comments right now, man. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
for sure. And hit that like button too.
That's right.
AI says also on Instagram, be aware of the intention of the core of the decision in stepping away from a church structure to quote, do it my own way, end quote. "M- My own way is wild if God is absent."
Yeah.
No.
That too.
Yeah. So yeah, so Ty's been
It's
going
wild.
viral for this,
Yeah.
and it seems that a lot of people are upset, and
Mhm.
then there's also people that kind of, like with everything when it comes to the church, agree with Ty and feel that people who are upset are just too religious and not really on the new wave of how church is done in 2024 and all this other stuff. So what I didn't know his church was all online. Well, what do you guys think about that one?
Oh,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, I didn't know that about him. To be honest with you, I'm not opposed to online church, man.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not. No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not saying if you're opposed to online church.
Mhm.
I'm asking, are you opposed to strictly online? Right. If
Exclusively, yeah.
TNC, if TNC Church, if we decided to open an Instagram account, go
Got it.
live, YouTube account for TNC Church, strictly online,
Yeah.
do you see a bit of an issue there?
I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That's difficult because I agree with AI. When she said that you need that in person fellowship, but listen, during the pandemic, um, I, s- I say that because the CDC just announced that
Yeah, they
COVID
did.
is just like the flu.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, like that's all a lot of people had. You know what I mean? Like here in LA, the mayor was and the governor shut down churches. Like I went to Johnny Mac's church in protest. Like he opened up, he's like, I don't care, we're gonna have service, whatever. But for a lot of people, online is all they had. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like even like my daughter started watching this dude, Alex, Amen Church. You know what I mean? And we started watching it like Sunday mornings, you know what I'm saying? Just on TV. He's just talking about the scripture and everything else. So I think it has its benefits, you know what I mean? But you need that one-on-one, you need that one in person. I feel like you do, you know what I mean? But at the very least, if you don't have no believers around you, you know what I mean? Like definitely tap into an online church, you know what I'm saying? Definitely.
Right. I also think the whole online church, I guess, phenomenon, if you want to call it that, um, is really no different than, you watching somebody on TBN or the Word Network or whatever other channel, right? Back in when the internet wasn't really around.
R.I.P. Paul Crouch, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So
You know what I mean? Yo, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, like talk trash about Paul Crouch, man. But a lot of people got saved because TBN flipping through channels and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like
right, right.
that held a
Yeah.
lot of people down.
I mean,
And
he's definitely a pioneer when it
for
comes
sure,
to,
for sure. And
I
shout
guess,
out, shout
media,
out to
right?
to 2819 because I've been watching Church Online. Shout out to Philip Anthony Mitchell. You know what I'm saying?
Word, word, word. But yeah, so
How
that's the
you feel
deal.
about exclusive church online? Just you know what I
I
mean?
I'm agreeing with you in that I don't know. I know it was beneficial during 2020 COVID era.
Yeah.
And even and I guess even now it's still beneficial, right? If you're unable to go to your home church, for a storm or whatever, now you have the opportunity that if they opened up,
Mhm.
you can still get some praise and worship in, and you can get a message from the pastor and all this other stuff. So I think it definitely has merit. I just
Yeah.
don't have an answer for it exclusively,
Yeah, I don't know
online.
about that.
I don't
At
know.
least for me, I don't think it's.
Yeah,
What do you think, Switch?
yeah.
I like the aspect of having accountability. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I feel like sometimes it's very easy to just slip through the cracks and just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch the
But
service." You know
yeah.
what I mean? And just like, all right, cool. I go about my day. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
got my word. I
Right,
got the word for the day.
right,
I listen to some worship at home. And I,
right.
you know, so yeah. So I mean, I'm more for in person fellowship. Um, than actually like strictly online. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yo, but you can slip through the cracks at a mega church too, though. Like you can
Oh
slip.
yeah,
I mean,
Sure.
like you can slide in. Pause. You can slide in now, and nobody even notice you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like if
yeah,
you're there or not, nobody miss you if you're not really connecting with people. You know.
for sure.
Um, that's very possible. For me, the most beneficial, um how do you say, the most beneficial worship that I had, like as far as church, was in a small church, um but also more so when my church started doing these cell groups, home church, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
um that was really impactful in my walk, just because that fellowship was
Even more intimate.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like people in your house, like we hosted, so people were in my house, we're breaking bread together, we praying for one another. You really get to know somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
For me, that was like old school. You know what I mean? New Testament church for me.
Yeah, and online just makes it mega churches, right? Where you don't know who else is visiting with you, your brother or
Right.
sister. It's just a username, that
User that. You
online.
know what's cool is that they
Yeah,
don't make you stand up when you're visiting though.
that's
or
true.
greet each other.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true. Just get right into it.
Yeah.
AI says we have to choose our words better. The church, quote, the church is whack, end quote, when you may have had a bad experience due to certain issues that very may well stem from our own pride. Um, she says also, what was the fruit of exclusively online church in general? Um, and then AI says she's a member of Church Crusaders Assembly, Pastor Stephen Foreman Sr. So if you're out in the Buffalo
That's
area,
cool.
go check out
Yo, they be
Church
outside
Crusaders
too, man.
Assembly for sure. Them cold winners.
Yo, but how come since forever
Mm.
when you go to church on Sunday, everybody and their mama there,
Mm-hmm.
but when it be the prayer nights or the Bible
On
studies,
Friday nights,
it be like 10 members in the joint.
that's it. That's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts, man.
Why is that?
I guess because Sunday you already have off, right? So you're probably more, what else am I really gonna do? I'm gonna set my day around church
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
versus maybe midweek service. Oh man, I got work. The kids have homework. Gotta do this. Gotta do that. So it can be more of a quote pain, right? To attend. That's the way I look at it.
Got you.
Yeah, maybe pain wasn't the right word. Yeah.
Let's
So
bring
excuse
back
me,
all day church.
anybody.
We got the
All day
I've
church.
been
Oh,
there. I've been there.
24/7 vigils. Woo.
I've
I
been
don't miss
there,
those
bro.
days.
Back-to-back services too. You know what I'm saying? I think my
Word.
pastor used to do like 4 services. You know what I mean? And
Bible study,
all that,
lunch,
bro. Yeah.
prayer,
All that. What
all of
you
that.
said?
It said Bible study, lunch,
Lunch,
Oh
prayer.
no, Jimmy said something. It sounded like he said something else. Anyway,
What, he cussing again?
I
maybe.
don't know. Alvin says 10 revivals. That's right. 10
Let's go, bro.
revivals. Word. So yeah. I think that's about it for Ty, unless you guys got something else.
TNC First Baptist Church coming soon. You know what I'm saying? We just secured the domain.
Send
Online
your
church
tithes
24/7.
and
You know what I'm
offerings.
saying? You said what?
Send them tithes and offerings.
You know what I mean? We gonna take a couple offerings.